this is Sarah, the Catholic Homemaker. Today I want to do a book review on Around the Year with the Von Trapp Family by Maria Von Trapp. First of all, welcome to everybody joining my channel, and all of those who are new to my channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the like button if you like this video, and hit the notification bell for all notifications so you know when I post, which is every Monday at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. Also consider sharing this video and commenting below. Let me know what your favorite things to do are for liturgical living and what your favorite books are. Also let me know if you have grown up doing this, liturgical living, or if this is a new thing that you're starting to embrace as an adult. All right, let's jump into it. So got this as an interlibrary loan. So this is what it looks like on the inside cover. And Maria Von Trapp, this was actually written in 1955, but I believe it was renewed in 2018, yes, by Johannes Von Trapp. So that must be either one of her children or grandchildren. I'm guessing grandchildren. And the book goes through the seasons of the liturgical year, the liturgical Catholic year, of course, because Maria Von Trapp was Catholic, and this is also a Catholic channel, so that's what I will be discussing. And it goes through Advent, Christmas, Carnival, Lent, Passiontide, Paschaltide, and then the Green Meadow, which is other feast days throughout the liturgical year. And then it goes on to talk about the land without a Sunday, which is Russia, which she is referring to. And then later on, she talks about celebrating with the family on earth as the evenings grow longer, dancing, reading out loud, singing, other things, our life a feast. And then talking about the different things you can celebrate as a family throughout the year, your birthday, your baptismal day, First Holy Communion, confirmation, your wedding anniversary, all these other things that you can celebrate. So what I love the most about this book is just really Maria Von Trapp herself, because just her whole attitude about celebrating liturgical living with her family, it was just a part of her life, and it's like that's just the way things were with her. Like, she couldn't imagine doing things another way. And she has such a wonderful, spirited attitude about it. And it's just another part of her life, you know, like going to church or whatever. And it's just the way that maybe she was brought up and the way things were, it seems decades and decades ago, and things started to change. So she talks about when she and her family moved to America, how things were very different once they, compared to Austria, where they came from. So Austria, things were very religious, and things weren't necessarily not religious coming to America, but it was, I don't know the exact year they came to the U.S., if it was like in the 1930s or if it was around late 1930s, 1939, or maybe later than that. I want to say that it was right before World War II when things were starting to get bad, or maybe it was like in World War II. Anyway, the point is that when they came to America and they observed people, especially during Christmas time, they noticed that, in America, we weren't really celebrating Advent. We were just celebrating Christmas early, and then Christmas abruptly ends on Christmas Day. But she's like, no, that's so wrong. She's like, Christmas continues on, through the new year because of the 12 days of Christmas. But it's not just about Christmas. It's about living the Catholic year throughout the entire year. It's not just about Christmas and just about Easter, or just about going to church on Sundays and giving up something for Lent. Living liturgically, it's there are no hard and fast rules about it, but it's bringing the Catholic faith into your everyday life. And you can do that through food, through prayer, singing, fasting. It's like the ebbs and flows of the Catholic calendar throughout the year and bringing that into your everyday life. So one way that I want to start doing with my family, I want to bring this tradition into my family, is to celebrate our baptismal days. And before reading this book, this is something that I have wanted to do for a while, and I fully intended to do it this year. And my oldest one's baptism came up very recently, and I totally intended to do something special for that. And then the day had passed, and I was like, oh man, I forgot about it. So maybe I just need to mark it on the calendar. But I told her, I was like, let's, celebrate it anyway, even though we're going to do it late. And so the day this video is coming out, that's the day we're celebrating. And I asked her, what do you want to have for your birthday? And she said cake. I was like, well, that's a little too much effort for me. And then she's like, cupcakes. I'm like, eh. And she's like, cookies. I was like, okay, I can do cookies, like chocolate chip cookies. And so I fed the sourdough starter because I like to do sourdough with everything. And I'm later on going to mix the ingredients and have it a little bit fermented so it's a little more healthy. But she's excited about that. So we're going to at least do that one thing special for her to celebrate her baptismal day. And I want to do that for my other daughter and, for my husband and me as well, and just make that a family tradition, and for any other subsequent kids that we might have as well. So that's just one little thing, but you can do it for all these other days. I mean, in Our Life of Feast, like that whole section of the book, she is going through graduation days, emperor days, anointing the sick, first confession, the feast of the patron saint. So each one of them and their families, they have like a patron saint. I mean, all of us do have a patron saint, especially when we go through confirmation. But, they really take that saint seriously. And then there was another time of the year where they, like, everyone in the family, like, focuses on a particular saint, and they study that saint and they learn about that saint. So that's pretty cool. There was all kinds of examples in this book of the traditions they have, whether it's like arts and crafts that they would do, or songs they would sing during certain seasons, or certain recipes they would make, or certain baked goods or whatever. Just all kinds of wonderful traditions that they had in their family. Oh, I remember another thing. So the Angelus prayers, that is said at 6 a.m., 12 p.m., noon, and 6 p.m. during the day. And she said that they had a chapel in their own home, and whenever the bells were being rung, they would like immediately stop what they were doing, not talk anymore, and say those prayers, and then go on with what they were doing. So that, I think that was a really nice tradition as well. And she was, and along the same lines, she was talking about how, Muslims put us to shame because they, whatever time of day it is that they need to say their prayers, they get down on their knees with their prayer rug and they pray. And she was, relating that to the Angelus prayer, like, that's something we can do. And she said, a lot of people are afraid of like what people around them, what their neighbors might think. And she was comparing it to Muslims who say their prayers. I think it's 6 times during the day that they have to face towards Mecca, the holy city. And she was saying, it doesn't matter that to them, like they go ahead and do it anyway. And she's saying we need to be doing that as well for our faith. So what are some other ways that you can implement these things, especially if you're a beginner like me? Like you didn't grow up with it and you want to start with it, but it might be intimidating. Like it was intimidating for me for a very long time. And I was like, that sounds really great, but I don't know how I can do it, or it just sounds like a bunch of arts and crafts, and that's going to be too much for me because I'm not like a really crafty person. But some easy things you can do are what I mentioned before, celebrating your baptismal days. Maybe that's just one little change you can make or addition, and just do one little special thing. Or on a saint's feast day or a Marian feast day, you can add in something blue. Or another feast day for a saint that's like, it doesn't have to be an extravagant meal, but you can just add like little ingredients to remind you or that are somewhat related to that saint or the country that they're from. Another thing, you can go to Mass on these days. So don't just consider going to Mass on Sundays or on holy days of obligation, but try to hit up some of the other feast days. Like if it's Our Lady of Guadalupe's feast day, which is December 12th, maybe go to Mass on that day. It's not a holy day of obligation in the United States. It might be in Mexico, which would make sense. But, feasts like that, just try to consider taking you and your children, you and your family go together. And yeah, you can do just little things like that, and you can gradually make more and more changes. But that's all I wanted to say about this book. I love it so much. I love Maria Von Trapp. I just love how much she embraces her faith, and it seems like her children in turn embrace their faith as well, which is really encouraging to me, because you hear of all these stories, and I know personally, like friends that I've had or grown up with, that they have left the faith. Like, I've known so many Catholics who have gone on to become atheists, and that's really sad to me. So it's been very important for me to be a good example to my children and to try to teach them the best I can my faith. And they're still very young, of course, but I think, we underestimate our children sometimes, and I think that they really are more capable than we imagine they can be, even when they're really young. So, it doesn't have to be something super complicated, and I don't think it should be forced either. Like, I've been trying to make it a tradition very recently to say the rosary with my children before putting them to bed, or as I'm putting them to bed. And I don't force my oldest to join, but she showed an interest in it, and I asked her if she would join me, but I never force it on her, because I know that can backfire as well. And I just kind of want to encourage her as much as I can and show her that it is a good thing to do, and hopefully my example will make her want to do the same. I hope you have found this video to be helpful. Let me know in the comments what your experiences are with liturgical living, and what you'd like to do, what your favorite liturgical living books are. And I hope you have a wonderful week. May God bless you and your family.